Okay, good evening, everyone. It is 6:01 on Tuesday, May 9th. This is a meeting of the Norwalk Conservation Commission and Inland Wetland Agency. Could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Steve Clocky,
Here.
Michelle Brown,
Here.
Amy Richardson,
Here.
Ed Howlinko.
Here.
I think that is it.
What about me, Alexis?
Oh, I'm sorry. Holy cow.
I can log off.
And
Present.
Matt Pence, my apologies.
All good.
Let me rename all of you real quick.
Okay.
All right.
As you do that, do we know if anyone is on the line to comment on something not related to what's on our agenda today?
If you are in the audience and would like to make a general comment, you can use the raise your hand feature. You cannot comment on any pending inland wetland application, but anything else on the agenda, you can comment now. So again, just use the raise your hand feature. Where are people coming on? So for public, we're at the public comment portion of the agenda, and if you would like to make a comment, please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom and click raise your hand and we'll call you to speak. And if you're calling and would like to speak, I believe if you dial *9, it will raise your hand as well. All right, it doesn't look like there are 4 people listening in, but none appear to be taking the opportunity to make comment.
Okay, snooze you lose.
Moving
Moving on.
I noticed
And
that
then-
Commissioner Knight joined. Did you guys have her in the roll call?
No, we didn't. Thank you.
There you go. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Pence. Okay, receipt and discussion, that's 19-539, 27 Bonnie Brook Road.
All right, so this is new application. I don't see the applicant present or his representative. So I'll just give you a quick overview. Bonnie Brook Road is off of Richards Avenue. There's a variety of wetlands and watercourse that like everything else, go from north to south and cut across Bonnie Brook Road. This property is adjacent to a small watercourse that then eventually feeds into the 5 Mile River. They're proposing to do a 2nd-story addition and some other small additions to the existing residence. And they are on a septic system. So the addition would require a B100A reserve septic area. And that reserve septic area is within your upland review area. The regulations, your wetland regulations require that any component of a proposed septic system other than a septic tank replacement requires a review by you, the commissioners. Additionally, they had added in some after the fact activities that they had done previously without permits, and I had made some comments regarding those. As I think about it more, I think what I would have to recommend to the commission is that for the various activities that were listed as after the fact, that I issue a notice of violation to deal with those separately. So you'd have 2 separate applications, one pinned to the proposed work and the additions, and then another not tied to that activity, but would be a corrective action permit application. And I will give you screen. Okay, so this is just an aerial photograph of the property. I'll zoom out. So bearing, this is Richards Avenue. This is the large Catholic cemetery here. This is the 5 Mile River. And this property on Bonnie Brook is adjacent to this tributary, which drains right to the 5 Mile River, which is at the bottom of the photo here. Their second-story addition would be over this portion of the residence. Their access would be across the front yard. The proposed reserve septic would be in this location here. The entire lot is within the upland review area of the watercourse, except for I think the very rear corner of the property. So that's it for the proposed activities. For this application, the activities that I would issue a notice of violation for is the clearing of vegetation in the rear of the property and on the side, construction of this pool, this deck, and shed, and gravel parking area. So I think that's it for now. I did speak to the applicant's representative earlier today and let him know my thoughts on dividing the so-called after the fact work from the proposed work. So the applicant is aware of that.
Okay. Does anybody have any commissioners have questions about Ms. Knight? Your hand's raised.
I just have a question. So, I mean, they would have to also go through planning and zoning. So if they, would the pool or what is the separate violation also be something through planning and zoning for that they would have to?
Yeah, so they actually did receive a zoning permit for the pool and I believe the deck. So those are fine. They received a permit, I want to say in of my file with me. I think it was in 2020, if I recall. And we had reached out to them after the zoning permit was issued to let them know that they need a minor wetland permit if they weren't doing any clearing. And they did not get back to us. And eventually they apparently installed the pool without a wetland or building permit. So they do have a zoning permit for the pool. They will not need a building or zoning permit for the shed. It is oldie enough that it's considered grandfathered by those departments, but there is no grandfathering under the Wetland Act. And then for the proposed addition, they don't yet have their zoning permit for that. They have applied and the zoning department is awaiting additional information that they've requested for that review.
Are these things that can run concurrently, or is it typically like when you want somebody to fix lack of a permit, like sounds like they didn't actually follow through and do the application for the.
Yep. So they can
I'm just
run,
trying to get procedure.
Yep, so they can run concurrently. We don't have anything in our regulations or a policy that would prohibit someone from doing both. Certainly if you're considering both applications at once, you can, as always, condition and provide limits to any potential approval, and can set a tight time frame for the corrective elements, so that by necessity they would in the end happen first.
Okay. Any other commissioners have questions or comments? Okay, we will consider this received and talk about it next time. Moving on to discussion and or decision, S23-613, 18 Eastwood Road.
Okay. This one, right. So I believe the applicant is here. At the last meeting, there was well, some previous meetings, there was a discussion regarding the need for a site plan that was comprehensive and showed all of the mitigative activities. Sorry, I'm having a website issue. There we go. Let me just pull that up real quickly. So earlier today, this afternoon, at like 3:15 on, has been very busy with the emailing of revisions. This including, is it included? Since this did come in very recently, I have not had a chance to review it. But the applicant did retain Landtech to take the narrative that had previously been supplied and drafted by an ecologist at SSES, and what Landtech did was take that information and then proposed a sequence and details for the restoration, and included notes regarding the planting of trees, the planting of shrubs, the removal of the wood chips, and well, and I believe invasive plant management. So they've included a sequence to install sedimentation or erosion controls to remove the wood chips that are within the wetland area and within the buffer, to remove invasive species using hand tools, to install the shrubs and trees, then to fine grade the restoration area and apply a native seed mix. I'll just keep scrolling down. They have a quantity of proposed shrubs and trees. It looks like 3 shade trees, 4 small trees, and then quick math, 10, 20, 30 shrubs within both, I believe, the wetland and the immediately adjacent buffer. And then seeding with a native seed mix, just the wet mix, which is good. And then this site plan, which is based on an aerial photograph, and it's a recent aerial photograph, so you can see the area of wood chips, and then the newer lawn areas, and where the proposed plants would be installed. So this is on the website if you want to further review. Obviously, it's a lot to take in at the meeting. The applicant does have, the application is up against statutory timelines. You must make a decision either up or down on or before your next meeting on May 23rd. I don't know if anyone, Commissioner Knight?
Yes, please chime in there, Commissioner Knight.
I just have a question.
Bernie's
Can you just
wife.
brush on how many trees were taken down? Because it said 7 canopy trees, but there's only 3 canopy trees, and then there's a bunch of sub canopy trees. So I'm just trying to
It was
understand
not.
that.
It was not that many canopy trees. Well, what they were there were trees, and some of the pine trees. They were the same as actually 2 trees that look exactly the same as the ones that were in there. So right now, the proposal is 3 canopy trees, which are 3 maples, which they will grow up to, say between up to 60 feet, and it will cover an area 40 square feet. Also, another 1, 2, 3, 4, another 4 will be 2 flowering wood and apple trees, which make a total of 7 trees total. Plus, we have, if you can see the list, we have another 5 great dogwood. Those are shrubs. 10 red osier dogwoods. All these are natives to Norwalk. That's what the land tech told me. We have another 5 winterberry. We believe those are the ones who are going to go on the buffer. And what else? The spice bush, and the northern arrowwood.
Okay,
And so, Commissioner Knight, I know that when we initially, when we issued the notice of violation in December 2022, we cited the removal of at least 8 mature shade trees, canopy trees, and the understory vegetation.
So it seems like 8 and then 3 are coming back.
any other commissioners have thoughts on that? I agree, it seems a little short.
I'd agree too. Also, crab apples aren't native. Those are listed as 2 trees that they're planting. I'd prefer to see all native.
So the crabapple are native as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a few, you'd need to specify the specific species. There are a few native crab apples, but most of them are not native.
Okay, so saying that the crab apples that I have over here, the mollusk is called the mollusk SP. That one is not native.
It doesn't have enough information to determine if it is native. So the SP is kind of this, it just is for the species. And so there's a bunch of Malus species. Some of them are native and some aren't. So they'd have to either do it a tree, a plant with a crab apple with a specific scientific name that includes the full species name, or a different plant that is clearly native.
It's only native. Okay, and what about the dogwood?
I think that the comment was that the Cornus Florida, or the flowering dogwood, is a native small tree, but it is not a canopy tree or a shade tree.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, now the reason if I put a lot of canopy trees right there, the space is the land tech is small to put that many shady trees, because there's going to be eventually they're going to grow and they're going to cover everything, and all the leaves are going to go into little stream, and it's going to kill everything around there. So nothing is will be able to under the trees, because all that space are going to be covered and there'll be any sun coming in too. So basically all the I'm going to be planting over there and everything are going to die eventually because the sun is not going to be enough for them to, to survive due to too many shade trees.
I'm sorry, I wasn't exactly following. So we're saying that the 8 shade trees that were there previously, it wasn't a problem, but by putting more than 3 back, it's going to be a problem?
They say, Land Tech said, if I plant more trees, the area is too small to have 2 shade trees. I say the maple is one that grow really tall, up to 60, 75 feet tall, and then it takes an area of 40 down, 40 feet square, 40 feet. The space that we're talking about is basically like 72 or something like that needs to be covered. So eventually, when all these trees grow, 2 trees grow. If we have more two maple trees there, when they grow and they expand, they're going to cover absolutely the whole area. There is not going to be enough sun for the grass or for the plants to survive. Any plant, any plant that is under the trees are not going to be able to survive. Before it was not any plants. What I'm showing that the trees are going next to the stream. At that area, it was exactly like that. It was all dead leaves. So there was no plants over there. I never touched that plant. So I told you. So there was no plants there.
Okay,
So like I say, go ahead.
I think we understand. Okay. All right, so there was a concern about 2 species, the crabapple and the crabapple needs to be selected, species selected that is native. And then
And dogwood.
and then the dogwood, I think the concern with the dogwood was just that it's an understory tree, not a canopy tree. Is that right, Commissioner Brown?
Sorry. I think that was Commissioner Knight, but
Oh, sorry.
she was looking for more canopy trees, but I would agree that, a few more canopy trees. These trees are 4 to 6 feet tall. It's going to take a long time for them to shade anything out, in my opinion.
Okay, so Mr. Suarez, I think what you should take away from what the commissioners are saying is that maybe reconsider increasing the number of shade trees, maybe ask Land Tech and say, hey, the commission is indicating that they want more shade trees, and then Land Tech can say, okay, well, maybe we can, squeeze one here or there or whatever. I think let's just try to do your best to address the commissioners' concerns, and then we'll just, talk about it at our next meeting. I don't think it's a hard line in the, I don't think it's a hard line in the sand here.
I just got one.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
I just have, like I say, one little concern. Put another shade tree over there. Over time, everything is going to grow up to mature.
We understand
and they're
that.
going to
Yeah.
kill everything around.
Well, that's not exactly how it works, but we understand your concern. I don't think, maybe we're just gonna have to agree to disagree on this one and see what you can do on your end to maybe get the application a little bit closer to where the commissioners may sign off on it. Unless, we can put it to a vote now to decide to approve something, but I think it's maybe a little premature and we don't have a draft memorandum anyway, so. Anyhow, okay, so I'm just want to keep it moving if that's okay, not retread the same ground. So there's concerns about the number of canopy trees. There's concern about the crabapple being a native species, which should be relatively easy to address. I had a concern about in the mulching section. I think it should be made clear that the mulching is to happen, just around the new shrubs and trees and not like go crazy with mulching. I realize it'd be silly to do that when we're removing all the mulch, but you never know.
Yeah, and so it's actually
Okay.
speaking straw or hay mulch only, so not the wood
Oh,
chip.
okay.
Yep.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's-
right.
It's just for for erosion control of the places that have been raked, but it is not to be interpreted as wood chip mulch, but only straw or hay mulch.
I totally missed that. Okay, that's fine, cool. And the fine grading,
One more
we all
thing,
agree
one more
that,
thing that I have, one more concern that I have about all this that's going on. When I remove all all the wood chips, right? Under that one, there is no soil. There are dead leaves, like I told you before. Before it was on, leaves. There's nothing there, nothing planting there, nothing planted there. So when I remove all the wood chips, what's going to happen if I find all that here?
I've deferred to Land Tech. Is Land Tech aware of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so, I don't know, anybody else have thoughts on this? Should the dead leaves that are under the mulch be removed too, or what do we do here? I'm just trying to get us as close as we can to a solution and not keep focusing on problems.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The fine grading, would that address that, Alexis?
Yeah, I don't, from my recollection of speaking with the homeowner and from reviewing the previous site photos and previous aerial photos, I am confident there was some leaf litter on the ground from the woodland condition of the area prior to the work. But I don't recall any indication of leaf filling, of mounding of leaf debris. So I don't think that's a problem at all. I would suspect that under the amount of wood chips that have been deposited, those leaves have probably compacted and composted by now.
Great. Okay. All right, does any other commissioner have questions or thoughts on the new information that we have here? Or anything in that, for that matter? Okay, I don't, I can only see so many of you on my screen. So I think that the best course of action here would be for the homeowner to just touch base with Land Tech about a couple of things we've discussed. Ideally, that would happen relatively soon so that in the next 2 weeks, by the time we meet again, Alexis can have a memorandum drafted to hopefully approve a resolution. Okay. Okay. Mr. Suarez, you're not
Okay.
muted or anything, are you?
I'm sorry?
You're still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Can you repeat
Okay.
that, please?
I'm sorry? The connection is not great. Did you want me to repeat that?
Please.
Yes, please. Okay. I think I can speak for the rest of the commissioners and suggest that you speak with Land Tech again to take another look at maybe increasing the shade canopy tree count. That's number one. I think you should ask them to, I don't think, this is not discussion, I'm just repeating what I'm telling you so that we can keep moving forward. Number two would be to ask them to select a species of the crabapple that is native and amend their restoration plan accordingly. And then I think that was it. So it's really just those two items. And so time-wise, please do that as soon as possible so that that information can be given to Alexis, preferably before the day of the meeting in 2 weeks or whatever. When is the next one, Alexis? It is,
2 weeks.
all right, 2 weeks on the nose, so the 23rd.
Yes.
And then ideally what she has to do is draft a resolution, which means it's just a document that outlines all the information we've discussed and that's been presented to us. And it basically is the scope of work for moving forward from our perspective. And then hopefully we can just put this in the past and, enjoy other things.
Okay.
Okay,
So I'll contact, yes, I'll contact the consultant for this. Thank
Great.
you very much.
You bet. Thank you. Good night.
You have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right, moving on to S23-616, 761 Main Avenue.
All right, so this is also a corrective action that is up against some regulatory timelines. Your decision date deadline is the next meeting on May 23rd. You had previously asked the applicant to provide us professional site plan and landscaping plan that showed the activities. They have submitted, let's see, on May 2nd, they provided a cover letter, a survey from March 2020, a site plan with details by a professional engineer, and what I'd call a preliminary landscape plan. I think that I also sent you a preliminary review letter, or maybe just a summary of my feedback to the applicant. And then the applicant provided earlier today a revised site plan that does show the parking lot expansion, but does not yet have any of the required stormwater remediation that the city would require for the expanded parking lot. So the applicant and the applicant's engineer is here, and I see that the applicant's raising his hand. So if you want to go to them. Sure. Okay. All right, Larry. So feel free to speak, and I can share my screen to show what you submitted if you want.
Sure. Larry Stewart, property manager for iPark. I also have Lou DeMarzo here, the engineer. So yeah, we've reached a point with the project where we submitted our engineered drawings. And as Alexis said, we don't have the stormwater plan yet. I was hoping that we could maybe separate the two, as I would like to fix the pipe in question and the riverbank as soon as possible. If there are any questions on refresher, you know, we took the pipe out. It was showing signs of being broken, and I was trying to change the angle of it to help with our interior flooding issues when we had extreme storms. That's where we are currently and where we stopped the work and got the engineer involved. So that's not sure what else to say there.
So maybe I'll just go through them real quickly
Thanks,
for the
Alexis.
commission. These are on the website. All right, so this is the site plan that was submitted on May 5th, 2nd. And it shows kind of two areas of work. So again, the access into 176 Main Avenue from Norwalk is the bridge off of Main Avenue that comes in on the left side of the screen. It comes in this way, and then if you proceed north, you eventually get to Wilton. The area in question is in front of the main building, which is here just off the screen. There's a stormwater pipe that discharges to the river, which is at the bottom of the screen. As Mr. Stewart indicated, they had initiated the excavation of the pipe and wished to do some modifications to the pipe.
It's a good one.
And so the plan provides some additional details. including the construction of a head wall and a, a scour hole at the outlet. Includes erosion controls and a limit of work. And then it also describes the area that was also noted in the notice of violation for some reworking and installation of erosion control blankets.
Mr. Stewart, we're getting a lot of background noise. Would you mind, while you're not speaking, muting yourself, please? Thanks.
Sure, no problem.
Then this is the waterfront restoration plan at the same scale. So here is the new proposed redone outlet for the stormwater drainage pipe. And then this is the area that was previously removed of vegetation. My comment is that it needs to be more than a preliminary landscape plan and have a plant schedule. But for the most part, it makes sense. It appears to have a mix of shade trees, understory trees, a few shrubs, and then an herbaceous layer with sedges, rush, and blue flag closest to the river, and then a seed mix installed on the river banks in between the plantings. It's just a little bit hard to determine the full extent of the kind of the quantity and scope of the plantings. And then oops, back to this is the plan that was submitted today. And again, the grade area is the parking lot expansion, where a portion of what had previously been kind of a lawn area was removed and cut into. City stormwater standards require that this additional impervious surface be accommodated with stormwater management so as to not increase runoff off the site, but also into directly into our water resources, including the Norwalk River. Excuse me. So that's kind of the overview. If either the applicant or the applicant's agent want to add anything, otherwise I'll stop sharing my screen. So I guess I would not recommend making a decision this evening, since it would be a lot easier. Well, you don't have a draft resolution in front of you, and it would be a lot easier to draft a resolution to approve with a more detail regarding the planting plan. And I do think that the amount of information now shown on the plan regarding the scope of work involving the renovations to the stormwater pipe are sufficient. There is the issue of the parking lot expansion and what the commission wants to do there. So again, it's the parking lot wasn't previously included in the drawing submitted on May 2nd. And in addition to showing the expanded parking lot, you really have to look at both the parking area and a drainage report, and it's the drainage report component that you don't have.
But there's
So I don't
nothing
know-
holding us back from considering Wait, but that's separate from the violation that we're talking about. No, it's not. It's the same.
No, yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
So basically, we've
Just
got,
one, oh, sorry.
go ahead.
I just had one question on that, just because the parking lot wasn't in the original violation. I'm just wondering if we could separate that. I think we're all a little eager to get the riverbank back to the way it was and for the pipe to be done. So I was just wondering if we might be able to separate those two issues, since the parking lot was not directly laid out in the cease and restore order that we originally got.
Alexis, is there anything stopping us from doing that?
I'm working on, no, I don't think that there is anything that, so what you would do is, I guess I would, yeah, I would just issue a second, notice violation just for the parking area.
But wait,
And then you can
the
separate them.
parking area has been done?
The parking area has already been completed.
Okay.
So just going back to.
I'm confused because the landscaping plan doesn't show the additional parking. Am I on Mars here?
Nope, you're not. So, hold on, let me just read. Okay, so I'm just taking a trip down memory lane. So back in December of 2022, a cease and restore order was issued, and it cited a variety of things. So including removal of vegetation, excavation, deposition of fill, grading, stockpiling of materials, alteration of the river bank and wetland, pollution, and discharge of materials, work on drainage pipe, and otherwise changing the natural and indigenous character of the land and adjacent to a wetland watercourse. No silt fence within the FEMA floodway. Okay, specifically, previously wooded area adjacent to the river has been cleared of vegetation and regraded. Additionally, a substantial pit has been excavated. Furthermore, no silt fence. Yeah, so as Mr. Stewart correctly states, the order itself did not notice the did not cite the parking lot expansion. That was as we went back out to do site photographs, we realized that the parking had changed. So it would be completely, so it's still, the parking lot is still a violation because it needs a wetland permit and it needs to meet city standards. But I think that the, other than the lack of a finalized planting plan, the applicant has provided the information required and cited in that order.
Got it. Okay, so we will look for, before the meeting in 2 weeks, updated drawings that give the extra landscaping information that Ms. Karakatty's asking for.
Yes.
And she's going to issue a separate violation for the parking,
Yep.
and then we'll just deal with that later.
Okay.
Mr. DiMarzo, you've had your hand up. Do you have a question?
Yes, yeah, Lou DiMarzo, civil engineer with DiMarzo and Boreski out of Fairfield. I guess Alexis kind of just got to the point on what she just said. I had a thought, and my thought was this, that if the parking expansion is a part of this order for correction, the idea was that my thought was that within the next 2 weeks, could we show, the idea is that I'm not sure if we can get a drainage report completed and have it reviewed and approved by DPW within the next 2 weeks. So my thought was that if this was to be a part of this correction order, the parking expansion, the drainage, a stormwater management system, if needed, for example, maybe infiltration system for an expansion of 2,400 square feet of new parking. My thought was, could you keep the parking expansion on this correction order and essentially make it a condition of approval, that condition being that both the drainage report and the site plan be in compliance with a review and approval from DPW that gets implemented and essentially built into the project as a regulated activity. I'll stop there. I think Alexis kind of just wrapped this up into two separate violations. That was why my hand was raised.
Okay, well, we're just gonna keep trucking then.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, does anyone else have questions, commissioners? Anything else to add? Otherwise, we'll, I think we got clear steps moving forward for the applicant. Nobody else? Okay, thank you, iPark folks, and we'll talk to you guys
Thank
soon.
you.
Thank you
Yep,
very
thank
much.
you.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Will do.
Thanks, Alexis.
Okay. Moving on to S19-546B, 10 Willard Road. Willard.
Okay, so 10 Willard Road. There you are. Right, so this is a modification of the existing 2019 permit to align the site conditions with the permit conditions. And at the last meeting, you had asked for a variety of things. And actually, I think at the last meeting, the applicant wasn't in attendance, but I was planning to meet and did meet the applicant the day after the meeting, where we looked at the site and looked at areas of concern, reviewed the previously submitted planting plan. And earlier today, there was a landscape plan that is revised, was submitted, as well as a letter regarding the culvert. If you recall, there are 2 culverts that were installed following a modification of earlier modification of the permit, and that design specified certain culvert elevations relative to the stream bottom. And so I've posted these 2 things. I have not looked at them or read them yet, but I can share my screen and open those up for you. So first off is the letter regarding the culverts. Which, if I'm reading it right, confirms that the engineer does determine that they do not adversely restrict the flow and allows for free flow of water along the channel.
As I recall, the flow really wasn't our concern, was it?
I think that former Commissioner Mailing had expressed concern regarding the both the flow and the scour, to make sure that that upstream of the culverts, they weren't acting as many impoundments, and that downstream there wasn't going to be excessive scour as the water dropped down to the stream bed.
Okay, so we have not had a professional chime in on that.
he
No,
does the letter.
I believe that's what the letter is saying, is addressing.
Okay,
But again, I have not had a chance to read it.
Covers it in the second page. And unfortunately for us, when we met out there, Alexis, it was pouring. So you saw the conditions firsthand.
Okay. So that has been submitted, and I will read it again more carefully, and it is on the website for the pending applications, and you, the commissioners, can read it at your will. But I think that at first blush, it does appear to answer the questions that Commissioner Mailing had asked.
Okay.
And then there's a revised landscaping plan. And Mr. Enters, you're more than,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah, so when we met out there, Alexis, you had told me the previous night, which I didn't get to listen to the hearing, that there were some concerns about having some larger, we just had 1 gallon plants along the side next to the T on that fire road. So we added some larger ones. We kept all the smaller ones, and we pulled some of the stuff as we discussed and added some more down the hill. It gets very steep right up at the top to the west at Strawberry Hill. So we kept the larger stuff up there, but we pulled some of the stuff further down in the areas that you and I discussed.
Okay.
And
So
then,
this is,
yeah, and then we added, again, as we discussed on site, all the banks of the drainage ditch we already bought it, actually, $1,300 a bag, are going to be planted out with the New England Conservative Wildlife Mix. And then anything that's further down is going to be the New England Soil Erosion, New England
what, okay,
Conservation Erosion Control Mix. So we actually just bought all that stuff. I'm in the wrong business, by the way. That's some crazy grass. So the whole entire fire lane, which I don't know, you probably didn't get a chance to look at the pictures. I have them if we need to look at pictures. That's been filled with topsoil since you were there. And that's all going to be the conservation mix. And then any of the areas in between plants and shrubs that we're planting are going to be raked up, getting rid of any of the loose rocks that are there. And that's going to be the conservation mix. Same thing on both sides of the ditch, along that fence over there. And then anything that gets towards the ditch itself, we'll use the erosion control mix that's meant for the wet area. And actually, it's looking pretty good. I took a bunch of pictures today. It actually looks pretty nice.
okay.
And I sent on that email that I sent you, I sent a link with the information about the bamboo barrier and how we installed it.
Okay.
And we don't have access to that right now, do we, Alexis?
I mean, I can put it up, but
Oh,
I
I
think
see. No, but I will post the link. I didn't see the link before.
there's 2
No, I
links.
recall asking for a professional opinion on that. Do we have that?
Professional opinion on what?
On the risk of the bamboo spreading beyond its barrier?
No, the only thing we talked about on that was getting you the specifications for the bamboo barrier. But
No, that's not true, actually.
unless you spoke about it last time when I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Well,
Alexis,
it's been-
just on the bamboo, how does that fit with the Connecticut statute, section 22A, 381E on the prohibition actions on running bamboo? I mean, just want to understand
Yeah, no,
that.
it's- Sure. Hold on. Hold on a second. Let me get my bamboo folder.
those
Uh,
2 links that I sent you, one is the, sorry, my lights are on a sensor. One is the place where we got all the stuff and it talks about Guy. The next one is the actual bamboo barrier and the insulation that we used from them. We did it, we put the bamboo barrier on the bottom and curled it up on the sides as well. And I have pictures.
So, so to answer your question, this night about the state statute, so the, it does not prohibit the sale or planting of bamboo.
Right,
It-
that's what I was told before we did it.
Right, so it's not illegal to possess it. Or to plant
It's
it.
the C section of planting, because it's like, I don't know where it is relative to the boundary, but the conservation easement or the water course area and the
Mhm.
public access,
What public access?
the fire road.
Oh, it's not on the fire road.
Is it within 40 feet?
No,
Is the bamboo not within 40 feet of the fire road?
no.
Let's see, I can go back to,
If you go to the site, the landscape plan,
oh, please.
sorry.
So this is about 1 inch equals 30 feet.
This is, obviously you can't see that is a big bubble put around it. That's not how big it is. It's like 1/3 of that size along there. And the fire lane is way back over here. It ends before that sidewalk.
Yeah, I would say that the distance to the fire lane is more than,
It's definitely more than 40 feet. It's like 80 feet. Again, if you want me to throw up the pictures, I can. I guess, I don't know what to say about the bamboo other than clearly I made a mistake, I think, when I did it, because you guys, I'm not sure I did anything. I'm not sure if I did anything wrong or not, but I went to the preeminent guy in the United States. That's why I gave you the website link, and it was carefully curated and picked out, and it is entirely contained. I mean, it can't get out. And it was not field grown bamboo. It was all pot grown bamboo, so that the runners were in curls and they were trimmed before they were put in. So there's not even any horizontal. I'm not saying that it's not going to try at some point, but the way that it was developed, and some of this stuff was years and years old, it's 30 feet high. It's not going anywhere.
Okay, so I think appreciate your discomfort with the amount of money spent on something that we seem to have problem with. It doesn't matter where it came from, who did it, how much it was, how great it was installed. It doesn't make me feel good. It seems incredibly wrong. But I'm not a professional. So
What seems
no,
wrong?
hold on. Actually, just hold on 1 second, please.
Sure.
So we can look at all the pictures we want. That's not going to prove anything to me. I think everyone, at least on the commission, understands that bamboo is something you really want to avoid. You may not have understood that, and that's just it's the way it went, and that's the way it goes. But I'm gonna have a real hard time supporting walking away from this project and saying, good enough, without a little more information from a professional, a third party, sort of unbiased perspective. Does that make sense to you? I mean, you don't have to agree with it, but does it make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm happy to do it. It doesn't make sense to me because from what I've been told, I didn't do anything illegal. I suppose I was supposed to. Listen, the reality is that there's a nasty looking tower right there, and this was planted to create a wall in front of it.
We
And
understand that. We've talked
Everybody,
about that.
I'm
over.
not sure if you've been there.
I have. I've seen it. I drove by it the other day. Yes,
Okay.
we understand. And the tower's been there long before the building was there. So
Of
we
course.
all understand the situation, I think, and it would be really great if we could just move past the justification stage and move toward resolution.
Okay, so I just want to ask one question.
Yeah.
I'll go find somebody I'll get my landscape architect to write up to a letter. It's fine. I've already gone over it with him. But what is it that you're looking for?
We're just here we're a gut check. We're just a big fat gut check on making sure the state statutes for wetland and watercourse protections are met, which are actually not, once you look closely, they're not that specific. But what it comes down to is we need to, as commissioners, or a majority of us at least, use our best judgment to determine whether something is a problem or not, within the confines of the statutes that we're upholding. We can't, just because we don't like something doesn't mean we have the right to reject it. Because all you would have to do really is appeal it, which has happened before. And as long as the commissioners don't have a good reason, at least a lawyer wouldn't make a good case that we have a reason to have rejected it, he'll just, or she'll just turn it over and you can go on your merry way. So that's why I'm pushing the professional side of things, because that's also part of our, not power really, but that's part of our process, where if we don't feel qualified to make a call on something, we have to defer to someone who is qualified.
So I
So
understand
that's-
all that. And I'm the furthest thing from looking for a fight or an argument,
Okay.
but I'm still trying to understand what I did wrong.
What'll happen is the bamboo is gonna run wild and it's gonna clog everything up and it's gonna impair the ability of a water course and wetland to do what it's supposed to do, which we're not gonna get into the dozen bullet points.
But it's
as to
not
what
in the upland review area. The bamboo.
It is well within the upland review area. There's 100 feet upland review area from a water course. So, I mean, unless my scale's really far off, I'm fairly sure that's within our upland review area.
Okay, if it is, then it's very little of it, but the trouble that I'm having is that, so, and we haven't looked at it and looked at the link, and maybe I should have sent it earlier than today, but I was trying to get things together. So we've done what everyone in the country does when they have a worry about this, planted it in a bamboo barrier system that's bolted shut, and we went one step further and put the bottom in too. So it's 30 inches deep. This stuff grows in pots that are like 20 millimeters thick. This is 80 millimeters thick. It's essentially like a concrete structure around it. So I'm just trying to understand the concern about where it's going to go.
I'm gonna cut it off right there. I'm not gonna debate it back and forth. If you want to have someone who knows, who's objective and can say, look, Conservation Commission, I guarantee, or beyond reasonable doubt, this is not going to go anywhere. And these guys, boy, they built just a concrete bunker around this stuff. Don't worry about it. Then until I get that, I mean, I'll speak for myself because I only have one vote. This isn't going anywhere.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I'll go do that. I just wanted to understand, and
Okay.
now I do.
Yep. Okay, then the other thing on my list was, I believe you claimed that someone from the city or fire department or somewhere asked for the fence to be built right up against the water course. Because some reason they couldn't have a swing gate or something to get into that.
I can show you. I have a picture.
Tower.
I have a picture from today, and it's not up against the water course. It's just, there's one section that's,
Here's the deal. It veered from the approved plan. So when something is approved and it's in writing, it's been approved. And then as verifiers, you'll say is what we're doing. We're making sure that what was done actually matches what was approved. It doesn't match what was approved. We asked you to get a memo or whatever from whoever was the authority having jurisdiction that told you to build it like that. I don't care if it's painted pink and it's shaped like a bubble gum. All we need to know is that it was done for a particular reason by someone who had authority to make that choice, make that decision.
okay, that's fine, but this is an application for a minor modification. So I guess what I understood was, so we're asking for the minor modification.
I don't know, Alexis, what are we asking for?
Um,
Where are we? I thought we
Yeah.
were,
This is a
Right.
minor modification and so
So
the fence being, I'll go and jump through all the hoops. I'm just trying to understand. I feel like I've been given a little bit of a hard time and I've been cooperating since the beginning. I thought I was cooperating, but somehow there seems to be some tension now. I thought the process was this is a minor modification and we discuss these things. And now it seems like every time we talk about something, there's a next level and a next level. I'm just wondering how long it's going to go on for.
I'm repeating the same things that I said last time, and I see Commissioner Brown nodding her head. I'm sure the others would probably agree.
So when somebody comes in for minor modification, okay, the question is, are you okay with the minor modification? Right?
So I think we're
Okay, I'm not
saying,
gonna
go ahead.
argue.
Actually, Alexis, go ahead, because we're at loggerheads here, please.
I'll show
I
you, I'll show you on the
Actually,
picture.
just hold on a second. I want to hear
Sure.
Alexis, if
Sure,
that's all
sure,
right.
sure.
no, I was just going to say that I think that you're seeking modifications from the approved plan, and then the commission's job is to evaluate those and either agree with the modifications or not. So I do think that they are I'd say that they're still within their realm of jurisdiction for asking for information. Regarding the fence, I think there's concern that the location of the new fence was installed in such a way that required the buffer that was originally proposed for that area to not be planted. And I think what they're saying is we prefer that the fence be returned to its original location and that you do that buffer planting. However, if you can show that that configuration that's new is essential to the fire department or whoever asked you to do it, then I think that they're saying we'd consider requiring you to keep the line that was approved on the plan. So
Okay,
I think
can-
that's the basis of,
Can I pull up a picture from today? Is that possible?
yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
Let me get it up first. It's not the. I'm never good at this. Oh, that's not what I want to share. There we go. I wish this was a little closer in. I'll try and zoom. So there were two concerns when this was brought up. First of all, I don't think we had, I can go back, but I don't think this angle that comes out here like 4 feet, it comes out essentially 4 feet, was planted out. I think originally we didn't have any plantings on this side at all. Second of all, this gate is where the people who have the easement to this tower enter and service the tower. Like today, there was an AT&T truck there. And what they do is they hoist things up. And the concern from the easement owner was that they couldn't do anything in there with the fence coming straight back right here because they couldn't unload or move their trucks around, etc. The concern from the fire department, where the fire lane ends here, was that if they need to get through here, there's transformers right here, and there's a building right here that has all of their power equipment in a bunker, basically, that if they needed to get through here, it was going to be an issue. It was an offhanded remark when we were walking through with the fire marshal. So that's how this ended up coming this way slightly. Just so that the second gate isn't open right now, just one gate is open. It was so that we could get a second gate in right there. So I'll do whatever you want, but that's how that came about.
Okay,
But
so just so we're clear, so this doesn't escalate and it's not tense or whatever. So you tell us, what do you think we want in order to be comfortable with what was done?
so that's what I'm trying to understand,
So
because
you re-
we've now,
you-
well, we've now agreed that we're planting out this whole entire other side, which we
We
want
have, sorry,
on the new landscape plan. We're planting out this side, and we're using the what was recommended by Alexis, and we're bringing that all the way around and all the way across the whole ditch. And we've added buffer materials, etc. So can I share a couple more photos here? Give me 1 second.
just hold on a second. I'm sorry, but the May 2023 revised drawing only shows plantings on the west side of the water course. And I thought you were pointing at the east side.
On the east side, we're planting that native grass, or the conservation mix that Alexis
Okay.
recommended. It's on the drawing.
Is it, Alexis?
No, it actually doesn't show it on the drawing. But
Yeah,
we
he's got a
can-
note on the top there.
Hold on, it's too small. Seed stream bank with New England
Oh, he didn't put
roadside
the ar-
matrix wet meadow seed mix to stabilize the stream bank, but then it kind of points to the gray cloud, so.
he didn't put the arrow to both sides. We're doing
Not
it
here.
on,
Okay,
we're doing it on both sides.
Okay.
I can have him put another arrow on there. So all of that, where this originally came down to here, all of that is getting planted out. But let me show you a couple of pictures of what it looks like right now, because it actually looks really good now that it's come in. There's a better picture of that area. Well, that's not that exact area, but so this is the ditch. This is what it looks like today. There's all this native stuff coming in down below, including some skunk cabbage right there. Let me find the picture that I was actually looking for. Can't see with this thing here. No, sorry. Well, that's the back of the ditch. I'm just trying to find the right picture, sorry. I think, how do I move this? There we go.
That's looking upstream, right, Mr. Enters?
Yeah, I'm trying to,
Looking north.
I had to move everybody's pictures to try and get here. So this is the one I was looking for. So this, all of this is whatever you, well, I don't know what that's called, Alexis, but it's the stuff that grows in wetlands, and it's all starting to come in all the way through here. This area between the fence and here, we're going to rake out all of that, and that's all going to be from where the native vegetation sort of works its way along here. That's all going to be that seed mix that Alexis recommended. And it's basically, so this is the angle. The angle is no closer. It's actually further away than the rest of the fences all the way down here, the way it originally was. So it's basically uniform. Let me see if there's one more, two more pictures here. And I'm not trying to make this longer than it needs to be. I'm just trying to give an accurate representation.
So you may just want to look at, I think it
So-
was Earl Govins did your, no.
Yeah,
Did
Earl
your-
did. It's Earl.
did, Okay. Just review the approved landscaping plan, maybe.
I'll put more notes on it.
And compare.
Alexis, would you
original-
mind, would you be able to put that up on the website?
I don't have a digital version of it.
Oh,
I did send you, Alexis, I did send you all these pictures too. So on the other side, so behind this silt fence, we've already planted out. And so down to where this sort of scrub area works, again, we're going to rake all that out. And we've already bought the native mix and we're going to plant all that with native mix between where it gets flat and whatnot. And the native mix is also going on the roadway itself. Everything from here to here and that T spot is all going to be the native mix, and we're going to let it grow up. It grows up to like 12 inches or so. And then at the fall, we'll just knock it down a little bit to like 6 inches and let it come up next year. And so this stuff that's already been done is going to continue all the way down along here. And then behind the silt fence is going to be all the native mix. And over here is a native mix. I mean, there's, as you can see, there's a ton of pictures. I don't want, if you're interested, I'll show more pictures, but if not, you know, I think you get the idea. I took some pictures of the culverts just so you could see water was flowing today. You know, everything was good. Alexis, at least the way I understood it, was happy that this stuff was coming in, because what happens to this drainage ditch, this is just taking all the water from the condos up above and it's just running down through our property. But in the summer, it goes dry. At least it has the last 2 summers. And basically it is, where is it? That's not it. Again, this is where we done some of the planting. We're just going to keep this stuff under control. Again, I apologize. These icons are so small. Let me see if I can make it bigger. These are large icons. So right back up in here.
we're at the north end of the tower looking south.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And right past this right here is where a lot of the wetlands drain in from the condo to the north, even though was part of our property, but it's part of the conservation easement now. And I have a couple pictures that I took. Why I'm not seeing them.
I think Mr. Richards, I think we're in good shape with regard to
Okay.
the current status of where things are at. But if,
Oh, by the way, this is the bamboo barrier, a close-up of the bamboo barrier.
yeah,
It runs all the way around the whole thing. So
Okay.
anyways, I'll show more if you want. If not, I'll be quiet. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'm just trying to get to the end of this and make everybody happy.
okay, I'm going to summarize it then, if that's okay with everybody. So,
I just have a question on the wood
sorry.
chips.
Yep.
Just in terms of the conservation easement, it seemed to state, Alexis, that, let me just pull it up, that you can't dump non-composted organic waste, and wood chips aren't composted. They are compostable, but they are not composted in that form. And so, you know, in terms of the intent and looking through, I don't think that meets the intention, unless I'm misunderstanding that, Alexis.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, if you read the letter, what the easement says.
It also doesn't say, you know, it has in terms of activities, it's not specific, but there are parts where it does get specific to say like no picnicking. And so the question would be like, is it okay to have picnic tables in the conservation easement if there's no picnicking?
That's inside the dog area. It's just for people to sit.
Yeah, so I think that there are kind of 2 different areas between it does call out the
The
I don't
active
think
use.
the conservation easement envisioned wood chips as the base.
Right, no, I agree. And so that is another component that basically the applicant is seeking to modify. So the
So-
wood chips were removed from around the base of the tree and but the other wood chips, they are asking to leave in place and to allow them to compost. And then in some of the areas, they would do install additional plants, the trees and shrubs that were shown on the thing. But you're right.
And so Alexis, when we were out there, I tried to show you anyways, that it looks like there's a lot of wood chips there, but it was just a thin layer that was put down because everything was mud and running away and we were losing everything due to erosion. So that's how that ended up there. And this, by the way, is where the wetlands from the condo up here dumps into the ditch to the north corner. And Alexis, you'll be happy to know I scared away 2 leopard frogs in the ditch today. There's wildlife in the ditch.
Okay, so let's keep on task here then. So actually, thank you, Commissioner Knight, because that was number 5 on my list. So I'll do my list backwards. So Mr. Enters, I believe right now there are 5 things that the commission is not comfortable with that need to be resolved or addressed before we can approve the modification or reject the modification that you're requesting. All right?
Yep.
Okay. So the first one is the mulch in the easement. I know, I think there's one commissioner that still thinks that needs to be removed and does not align with the terms of the conservation easement. Do any other commissioners want to chime in on that or agree or disagree?
So just,
Well,
just
actually, Mr. Enters, can you just hold on for tight for a second? I want to make sure we got consensus from the commissioners, okay?
want to clarify one thing though.
Sure, go ahead.
You're only talking about in the upland review area, correct?
Technically, that's the only area under our purview, correct?
Okay.
And that is 100 feet up from the water course.
Right.
Okay, good
So
enough. All right.
And the conservation easement is under the commission.
Right,
Oh.
so what you're discussing today is the inland wetland permit
All right.
modification. And for that, you're only looking at the 100-foot upland review area on either side of the water course. And that area extends fairly far. So I think that all the things that you're talking about so far have been within that. And then additionally, as the Conservation Commission, not as the Inland Wetland Agency, but as the Conservation Commission, you are the named grantee of the conservation easement. For the purposes of discussion tonight, I'd keep it to the activities within the upland review area. And if using that means of kind of regulatory ship straightening doesn't work out for you, you can look further at the easement as the Conservation Commission.
So that we don't do this again in 2 weeks, I just need to know
Yep.
if you want if the wood chips are okay or not.
Yep, hang tight. We're in process of doing that.
Okay.
All right, other commissioners, I've talked a lot. Ms. Knight has talked a little bit. Can we get some feedback from you guys on the wood chips specifically within 100 feet of the water course? Keep them, get rid of them. Don't care.
I think removing them because if we keep them, they will smother anything that will grow, any native understory.
Okay, Alexis, did you want to chime in?
So
I was just going to say that the area of wood chips is closest to the area of the fire lane road and the associated disturbance. And that under the wood chips is not the best growing material. And it had a significant amount of non-native invasive plants in it previously. So before the work, there was definitely a strip of woodland closest to Strawberry Hill Road, which remains, but in the approximate area where the access road is and the area to the immediate, would that be west of it, I guess, was not in the best shape. So you may want to consider a light top dressing of topsoil and a overseeding of the wood chipped area with the same grass mix that's going on the access road.
Okay,
You might have better luck.
thank you.
Happy to do it. And just as an aside, unfortunately, the old junk is starting to come up through the wood chips already. I have that picture as well.
So I don't know what you think, Cheryl, about that.
Yeah, that could help stabilize it.
You mean top, scraping off
With
top
this-
layer and
With the seed,
soil
yeah.
and seed? Okay. Commissioners Pence and Halwinko, any thoughts on any of this? Or Mum is fine too? Okay,
Yeah, no strong feelings. I'll defer to you guys on this.
okay. Oh, Ed, no? I feel like you see,
Normally, yeah, normally I would say I'm sort of okay with the wood chips, but I'm kind of leaning to Charles' point of view, saying, yeah, it'd probably be better to scrape it off and do the seed mix.
Well, I think Alexis said that we would mix topsoil with the wood chips and plant, put the seed mix in, unless I heard wrong, because what's underneath that,
Right. Right, yeah, I mean, whatever works here.
whatever you want to work out with Alexis, I think is probably good with us. We trust her explicitly. So,
Okay,
okay, so number one on your list
I got it.
is addressing the mulch and the conservation easement as of right now within 100 feet of the water course, but you may consider to smooth things down the road to apply that to the entire conservation easement.
That's fine.
Bob, any? Okay,
May I address that on the landscape drawing? Does that work?
that'd be the best place for it.
Okay.
And also, if you wanted to
Done.
attach the narrative or a little more detail as to exactly what's going to happen, just
Okay.
a brief narrative that any landscape architect should be able to put together for you.
Okay.
And again, Alexis can probably help you craft that, or catch something that may draw our seemingly unending ire.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's numero uno. Numero dos, your planting plan right now does not include the native ground cover mix on the east side of the water course. I would suggest just adding that, because if you're gonna do something, it's good for
Yeah.
us to be aware of it.
We'll get the arrows put in.
Sweet. All right. Number three is the fence. Just get us a memo from somebody who knows better than us about why that needs to be there. And I don't want to speak for anyone else, but it's not the end of the world. It's just, come on, give us something to work with here. Okay. All right. And anybody, by the way, commissioners, you're welcome to chime in and interject or set me straight or whatever. I'm just trying to keep this rolling. The culverts and the potentially, different elevation that we thought they were going to be. I think Alexis is going to just double check the report that was submitted and make sure that it addresses our concerns, which were both flow and scouring. But that one, hopefully, Jason, Mr. Enters, requires no action from you at this time.
Thank you.
Okay. And then number 5 is the bamboo. And anybody else have any other way you can spin this, throw an idea out there? Because maybe what I'm not saying, or what I'm saying is not useful.
I guess I'm just not clear from the language of the statute, whether the fact that they've deleted that they used to have a provision about containing it or containers, that they scratched that's something that, you know, from the language of it and with the inland wetland review, you know, to enforce it, whether it's something that we can really allow under Connecticut statute to be within the upland review area, given the nuisance factor and the fact that it's not just a local, it's a state statute.
Could we possibly suggest that Mr. Enters engage whoever might know the answer to that question?
So just so it's clear to me, your contention is that the statute says that bamboo is not allowed, but that's not what the statute says. So what would you like me to do?
I'll just say statutes aside, I don't think anybody on this commission would give a thumbs up to any bamboo anywhere remote, anywhere, regardless of wetland, watercourse, whatever. Obviously, we're here just to, you know, with that very narrow window, but
Okay,
I
so
mean, statutes aside, I mean, we talk about invasive plants all the time, and bamboo is a known, like, super psycho invasive plant. So, like, sorry. I mean, I guess maybe I'm not following entirely what Catherine's saying about the statutes, but statutes be damned, I think it's a bad idea.
okay, so
So you're the only statute that really you have the authority to follow is the Inland Wetland Act. And then there are the section 22A 381 has prohibits certain actions regarding bamboo. But I don't think that any of the activities done at 10 Willard are in violation of that statute. I think that your real question is you approved basically a site plan that included construction and other activities, including a landscaping plan. And that landscaping plan that was approved did not include bamboo. And you have concerns that bamboo within the upland review area is a potential threat or has a negative impact to the wetland and watercourse. So I think that what Mr. Enter should try to pull together is a professional's opinion regarding the effectiveness of the buffer or containment that was used with the plantings, and try to convince the agency that it does not necessarily mean a negative impact to the wetland and watercourse system. That's kind of your job. And what they're saying is that they don't quite believe it and are still concerned that there will be running bamboo in the wetland and watercourse. So I think they're just looking for some additional information to convince themselves.
okay.
Thanks, Alexis. And don't get it from the guy who sold you the bamboo.
He's the head of the Bamboo Society of America, and he, honest to God, he curated specifically that bamboo so that it wouldn't be a problem. But I won't get it from him. I won't get it from him.
Okay, thank you. All right. Did I miss anything in my top 5 for 10 Willard Road? Anybody? All right. So sorry if we got a bit tense there. Everyone's time is precious, and we just want to make sure we're doing the right thing here. So
I just have one question, if you don't mind, and I'll let everybody.
hit it.
So what's on the landscape plan that you see now? I understand I need to make some additions to it, but we've agreed that what's on there now, you're good with, because I've ordered that stuff and he's about to start planting.
Well, I don't want to make a blanket statement because you also have bamboo on there. We're not sure we're okay with the
Well,
bamboo.
that's already, I mean, the new stuff that wasn't able to be planted in the fall. I'm missing my time here, so.
That's fine. So you're talking about just the seed mix, New England roadside seed mix, or are you also talking about the
I'm talking about
inkberry, winterberry, et cetera?
all that stuff, all the trees up by Strawberry Hill, by the neighbor.
Right. Well, I will point out that I believe we've lost several of them. We used to have 20 Ilex glabra. We've got 14 now. We used to have 18 Ilex verticillata.
Yeah, but
Got 10 now.
we added
We
larger.
used to have 14 Cornus stolifera, and we have 8 now. I don't know if anybody else cares. I honestly don't because I want to get going, but others feel free to chime in.
Well, just again, I don't want to hold it up. Alexis told me that the comments from the last meeting, which I didn't listen,
Space them out.
was to get bigger ones and space them out. So that's what he did.
Yeah, but he
So
did,
they're
he
different
actually, he
heights.
changed the number, but not the size.
Okay.
So
He didn't change-
double check. Yeah, they're all still 1 gallon.
Oh, okay. The drawing shows them bigger, but he didn't change I'll get it changed.
Okay, so that's number 6 on your list then. And honestly, I don't think I'm comfortable giving any sort of verbal go ahead on anything right now, just based on how we've had a hard time kind of seeing eye to eye on this. But again, others feel free to override. And I know, yes, like I'm trying to grow grass and stuff myself, so I hear you. Trust me. Anybody else? No? Okay, well,
I would just say that the seating of the fire lane was previously approved and that should
okay.
continue.
Yeah, because we just put topsoil there and we're gonna lose it. If
Should
we-
we
Awesome.
stabilize it, yes.
Okay, staff says go on the fire lane soil that's been prepared now.
Okay,
Cool.
2 weeks and I'll see you with this stuff and then hopefully, that's it, I hope.
Good. We do too. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Next is S23-617, 16 Fireside Court.
All right, so this application was received at your last meeting. The applicant and homeowner was unfortunately unable to attend, but you did have some initial comments. I did meet with the applicant last week.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it was just last week. And I relayed the comments that you had regarding the submitted landscaping plan or site plan. And I believe that well, the applicant can speak for himself. He is here tonight. So if you want to just give us a quick update.
Yes, the question was that you wanted on the drawing, the pond that's on the back of my house. So Matt, the was gonna add that in. He did not have it ready by today. And also in that drawing was gonna be the gravel driveway that's in front of the shed and that temporary tent that I have next to the shed. So those are things that are gonna be put in the drawing. And that's pretty much it. That was a problem. The other question that I have is the drawings of the planting in the area by the stream, if that's okay, if everybody's happy with that. And I don't know what else. You guys gotta tell me.
So just as a refresher. This is the property at the end of the cul-de-sac here. There's a water course on just off the eastern property line, and then there is a pond that's immediately west of the western property line. So the entire property is within the upland review area. There's like a little sliver right here, but otherwise the entire lot is in the upland review area. And right, like you discussed, the commission asked for the pop-up structure that's in this location to be shown, to show that there is a pond just off the property. And also to note that this area is not open lawn, but woods. And then,
You guys asked to add all those trees that are on my property next to the shed. So that is gonna be done too. Also,
okay. And so then I think we were also waiting for you to receive a letter of permission from 14 Fireside, which is your neighbor here. So we just need something in writing from them.
yes, I did ask, he's back from his winter home, vacation home, and I sent him a message today. He did not respond. So I'll get that as soon as possible also.
Okay. And so then commission for the this is kind of a slope area that goes down to the water course. It flattens out on number 14.
Mhm.
And what's proposed are 5 well, a total of 17 shrubs, 5 that are larger, and then 12 spice bush, which will start off smaller but should grow moderately, and then a bunch of fern along the forest floor. And then for the areas that are disturbed and not covered by any of the installed plantings, there would either be a 1-inch thick layer of clean leaf litter or seeded with a woodland seed mixture. And potential replacement of the dead arborvitaes that were installed a long time ago along the property line.
Yes, the owner did say he's gonna remove those and replace them.
Okay, so we are sitting tight for another couple of weeks and we still have time to do that, Alexis?
Yes.
Okay, and so you will be receiving updated landscape plan, and we'll probably have a draft resolution ready for next time, unless anybody else has lingering concerns. Hearing none, I think, do you have any corrections for me, Alexis, or is that where we're at?
Nope. So just
Okay.
depending on when that information gets in and I have enough time to do a
So-
resolution, I will.
Is okay, so that, right?
Yeah,
the-
I think there were no comments on the proposed restoration on the east side of the property.
Okay, excellent, thank you. So is it better to put that, the seating, like the natural wetland seating, instead of putting down, you said the other thing was leaves?
Yeah, I would recommend the seating.
I like the seating better. Earlier in the other meeting, what he put down, it looked and green and beautiful. So if that's okay, I would like to do that too.
Just so we're clear, don't do anything yet, though. Let's get it all in writing and make sure Alexis's people know what they're actually going to see when they do go out to inspect it.
All right,
Um,
thank you.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, so next week I'll look for the map from Mr. Pop and the letter of consent from your neighbor.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Have a nice, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Good
You
night.
too. Okay, enforcement actions, V 23-1049, 20 Edith Lane.
Okay. I saw. So if you, you move him over. Give me a second. Why are you not allowing me? Okay. All right. Let me just get my stuff together here. Change gears. So this is a show cause hearing. Anytime that I issue a enforcement order, state statute requires that you hold a show cause hearing to give the respondent, the person that received my order, a chance to provide additional information regarding the scope of activities noted in the order. And I will just go through what I've issued, and then I'll show some aerial photographs and some locational information, and then some site photos, and explain why I have issued an order. So back on August 16th, 2022, I issued a notice of violation to the owner of record of 20 Edith Lane. And I cited the removal of vegetation, clearing, and deposition of fill, and noted that a nearly 7,500 square foot wooded slope had been cleared and filled. A drainage pipe had been installed and was discharging in or adjacent to the wetland. And that the edge of the slope of the fill resulted in a new unstable, very steep slope directly adjacent to the wetland and watercourse, and that there were no sedimentation erosion controls installed. And I met with the property owner in August, along with the Public Works Department senior engineer, Paul Sotnick, who does the city's fill and excavation permit, which is required if you don't have a open building permit and if you are moving more than 50 cubic yards of material. In speaking with the owner of 20 Edith, well, let me just go back. So that notice of violation directed the property owner to do 4 things: immediately install silt fence at the top and toe of the slope, to cause to have the inland wetlands on the site field delineated by September 13th, 2022, and then to submit a corrective action application on or before October 11th, 2002, and then finally to implement completely. In February 1st, 2023, I issued a revised notice of violation. By that time, the respondent had properly installed silt fence at both the top and toe of the fill slope. It actually removed the drainage pipe that was discharging water to the wetland. And on August 20th, they had the wetlands delineated by auto fill, but they had failed to submit a permit application. As I'm sure the property owner will explain later, it is a lot of fill material. Some of the fill material is considered unsuitable fill by the city. Unsuitable fill includes things like construction debris, asphalt, road millings, plastic, wire, brick. I'm sure he will, when it gets time, explain the circumstances in which it came about that all this fill was being delivered to his residence. So on that February 1st notice, as I said, extended the deadline to get together a permit application by March 7th. And then when that passed, and in this time I've met with the property owner multiple times, I determined that I should just do an order since so much time had passed. And that's what you have before you today. And I believe that you all got a copy of the order. And again, it cites the approximately 7,500 square feet of wooded slope being cleared, more than 1,000 cubic yards of fill being brought in and deposited on the slope, extending the flat area and intended to be lawn area out towards the wetland watercourse. So the new order just has two directives: to submit a corrective action application on or before June 20th, 2023, and to complete by whatever actions are within that hopefully approved permit application. Let me go through. Bear with me, I'll share my screen. Okay, sorry. Let's see, best way to do this. So Edith Lane is there we go. All right. Sorry about the delay there. Edith Lane is in the central part of the city. Linden Street and then Main Avenue and the Norwalk River are off to the west. West Rocks Road would be the main street to the east. And this is part of a series of streets kind of on the hill slope between West Rocks Road and further down Main Avenue. This is an aerial photograph of the site. Currently, this was taken at the end of March in 2023. The property is at the end of Edith Lane. There is the Winnapock condominiums there, which is this property here on the southern part of the aerial photograph. There is a pond. It's this thing here. It has cattails in it, so it's hard to see the open water in this photograph. And then there are wetland slivers that come up into the hill slope up to Edith Lane. There's significant topography difference between a high of Edith Lane and the low of this pond. And this property is right on that slope, which is not conveyed well in aerial photos, but you'll be able to see that in the site photos that I show you. So in this photo, you can see the 2 rows of silt fence. This is the silt fence at the top of the fill slope. This is the silt fence at the toe of the fill slope. And again, this is the kind of the wetland area. You can see some of the large rocks and construction debris actually are clear in this. This dark line here is a trench. This is the location of where the drainage pipe had previously been installed, but has since been removed. And then these are some test pits that Public Works had the property owner do in addition to the trench to evaluate the material that made up the majority of the fill. This is an aerial photograph from March 2022. This shows the expansion of the driveway and some initial kind of filling work, and it shows the remnants of the vegetation that had been cut down. And again, this is the pond, and then the wetland fingers, kind of, there's 2 of them that come up like that. And then this is a photograph from March 2021. some initial work in the rear slope. Looks like it might have just begun, but there were still some trees in the backyard, and the driveway hadn't been expanded for access down there yet. And then this is March 2017. This is before the current owner owned the property. It's clear that there had been some, variety of activities in the immediate rear yard, but this is the more heavily treed landscape. And again, the pond off at Winnapock condos. So that's what it looks like from the air. Let's see. Sharing. Sorry, I need to stop sharing and share something different. Let's do it this way. So these are the site photographs from August 2022 when we first went out there. This is the fill slope. This is the top of the slope, and there's the property owner and public works representative for scale. This is the toe of the slope, and the areas that I was concerned were wetlands. And you can see that some of the material is not appropriate fill. This is looking from the driveway, looking out into the new backyard. And again, this is the corner of almost the corner of the house. There's a shed off the house. This is the backyard that is now flat before it then drops down to the wooded area. This doesn't exist anymore. This is gravel at the top of the slope where the drainage pipe was installed. And then it went down the slope and exited in this location where there was some more gravel. Like I said, that has now been removed. And again, here's another view of the, of the fill slope from standing approximately where the wetland is. And then this is turning around and looking behind me. Due to the leaf cover, you can't see the pond, but it's in the back here, but you can see this, this is water reflecting the sun in this location here. And then so then these are photos from February 2023 that show the silt fence that was successfully installed at the top and toe of slope. And this is when the pipe was excavated, and we met with the surveyor to make sure that the pre-existing and existing conditions were accurately shown on the survey. It gives you an idea of the depth of the fill. Again, the wetland flags are the little pink flags that you can see off in the distance. A little hard to see, I understand, at this scale. Oops, guess that was it for those. Thought I had more. And then lastly, this is the survey of the property. The gray lines were the pre-existing topography, And so the property went from an elevation of about 166 at the very front down to 134 at the western or southwestern property line. You can see that the gray lines are relatively close together in this area. Topography that's close together means that the slope is steep. And so there had been, if you look at the gray lines, it's a lot of spaghetti on this map, I'm sorry, but there had been, you can kind of see that the gray lines make this U shape. And a U shape is an indication of a valley. So this had been a slope down to a valley that then rises a little bit more gently off to the west. And so it was that valley area that received most of the fill. The red is the existing grade. And so you can see that the red lines up by the back of the house are much more widely spaced than the gray lines had been. But to compensate for that, the red lines along the beyond the slope are much steeper. So you have a steep slope in the back. This is the wetlands that were flagged by Mr. Thiel. So there's a finger that comes up. There's a drainage easement and a discharge that's probably driving the hydrology here. And then for this one, this is as far as Mr. Thiel could really dig with his hand auger to determine the extent of wetlands, but it is probably, I'd say, relatively accurate based on just looking at the topography. So it's because of all of these factors, the proximity to the wetland and the amount of work within the upland review area, which is this dashed line here, that I issued a notice of violation. So I will say that in speaking with the property owner, I have indicated that because of the amount of fill within the upland review area, it is a significant regulated activity, and significant regulated activities require a certain amount of information to be shown on the site plan. One of the things that the respondent has been struggling with is how to deal with this very large amount of fill. Does all the fill have to be removed? Could he potentially reuse some of the fill if the unsuitable fill is removed? Could he keep some of the suitable fill, particularly in the areas that are outside of your jurisdiction? And how to show all of that and not go bankrupt. So I know that the respondent is currently working on finding a professional to assist with coming up with a site plan. And I know that I think one of the things that is potentially up for discussion is the adequacy of, or the amount of time given in the order to, my objective is to get the violation resolved. And one of the method is to get a corrective action permit application in, and then have that application be approved and implemented. And as you know from your agenda earlier today, it is always best to have a well-prepared corrective action application be submitted to you, as opposed to a poor corrective action application submitted to you that evolves over a very long period of time. So those are my comments. And Raul, you have the floor if you would like to speak and give any additional information.
Yes, hi, my name is Raul Pinero. Hi, everyone. I know this is a big mistake. I call someone who knows about this. He came over and I told him that I need this, but I guess he just did it without permit anything, and he didn't even tell me about all this stuff. Well, he came with all the stuff, and a lot of stuff that is supposed to be here. I know that I spoke to Alexis and Paul. So I'm trying to fix this issue, but it gave me complicated about the contract. He came over here. Well, first of all, he's willing to just to bring the stuff in with no money. I think that was a big mistake that was accept myself. And he brought the stuff. I told him not to bring a lot of stuff, but he just keep coming. He is telling me that he had to get that like the ground supposed to be like the level so the truck can coming in. And with the time he did brought the stuff with the time, so I was working. I didn't, basically see a lot of stuff, but on the end, question about all the stuff. So he was telling me that he had to bring some big giant stuff so that dirt doesn't go down to the the steep down part of the backyard. Well, then when I saw Alexis and Paul ringing my bell through my ring belt, so I spoke then to over the ring, and they told me, all the stuff. So I request him to, to fix this, and he was like pulling back, and but all this time I was talking to Paul, I was talking to Alexis, more than Paul than Alexis, so I was asking for time, yes, because I was, trying to fix it for him, that he knows about this. He got all the machine, he got all the trucks, and he did this, and he was telling me, yes, I did. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help. But on the time that passed by, that he just, didn't answer the phone. He got no response, and also he was telling me that all this stuff is coming from the church, close to my house. There was a good dirt. So I trust him, but I guess he didn't. So one of my neighbor, he told me after the fact that he told me that he was follow him, and yes, she was bringing some stuff from the church close by here. A Greek church was here, is here close to my house, and he followed to Stanford, close to the what's the name of this? I forgot the name, but it's in Stanford, and he brought some stuff from there too. So, but then I asked Paul. Paul was telling me that he needs the name of this contract. So I lost his number, and when I found the number, so I called, and the number wasn't working. So I was online and looking for and found it, and I sent a message, and he responded back to me, and I say, you need to fix this. I'm willing to, just work together with you. So he say, okay. So, but then he disappeared again. So I went back to Paul. I said, Paul, this is what happened, because Paul was promising me to find the guy's name and the number, which I did. And the guy told me, don't do anything yesterday, because I know Paul boss, and he's not gonna do anything. And I went to Paul and said, here's the number. So what he did, he just made the phone call and spoke to him on the phone, and he didn't do anything. He just told me, you know what, your fault. You got to repair you on your own. That's what Paul told me. So which I spoke to Alexis. I told Alexis that, you know what, I'm gonna do this myself. But right now, it's too. I believe that it's complicated because it's a money issue. It's a lot of money. Okay, so I went to do this all the stuff already been like maybe $15,000. All right, spent. Right now, I got engineer today came over to my house. He's gonna he said he was gonna call Alexis, get more detail what how it's gonna be working in my backyard. I don't know if he did or he not, but he said he's gonna do something. I already got quote for the site plan. But I think it's too much money. I can't afford it. So that's what I'm looking for, different options. Okay, so I know the time is by June 20th. I think that I had to get the permit, but I don't know if I can get it by then. So I'm just gonna ask for more time. But this is what I'm stemming here. Talk to you guys.
Can I ask, who was the contractor? Was it a licensed contractor?
Yes, he's had as a matter of fact, his name is John Tushinardi, and he put a permit for sewer and church, Greek church, right here close to my house. And by that time I went to talk to Paul, so he calls the forgot his name, but he called somebody else there, and he's the one telling me yes, he the one pulled the permit for the sewer, because I think they do some work in there, and that's it. I mean, they didn't want to give you no more detail.
Now I'm unmuted.
Yep.
I think I understand the situation, the unfortunate situation. Does anyone else have, is everyone on the same page about where we're at and what needs to be happen, or what needs to happen? Sorry, I'm getting tired, 8:15. Alexis, I mean, the clock is ticking, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have spoken to the property owner about the the wetland, the way the wetland law works. It kind of lands on the property owner to take responsibility for their property. Additionally, it's been August will be a year since the notice of violation. So yes, I mean, on the one hand, it's now, it's stable, it's stable, it's not, you know, if the silt fence is maintained, it's not, necessarily going to go anywhere. I do think that the silt fence, and the erosion controls are adequate and good. But,
Okay.
but yeah, at some point, there needs to be an application that shows the proposed scope of work to do something. And I've advised him that I don't think that the existing conditions are likely to be approved by the commission, that you would want certainly fill removed from the wetland itself, and preferably pulled back outside of that 50-foot, or at least most of your upland review area. So that's something that he can decide with whoever he ends up retaining.
Okay. Do you understand that, Raul? Sorry.
Yes, my team engineer, that I think that he's the one gonna work on that. So I explained to him that yeah, anything he do on the plan that had to be coordinated with Alexis and Paul.
Okay.
So whatever, you know, I mean, whatever would tell him to tell. So besides that, Alexis and Paul had to be decided to. So this is just to make that simple for everybody, you know, and be on the legal side.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Pinedo. Pinedo or Pinedo?
Pinedo.
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 Sorry. Okay. All right. Well, there's not a whole lot else we can do tonight, as far as I'm aware.
So you would close the show
Have to
cause
uphold-
hearing,
Okay.
and then so you do have to make some sort of decision regarding the order, unless you want to hold a special meeting some other night. Within 10 days of closing the show cause hearing, you have to either decide to uphold the order, uphold and amend the order, or withdraw the order.
And do we need a motion for both?
Sure, that would probably be good. A
Okay.
motion to close, and then
So I'll move to close the hearing, show cause hearing. Have a second?
I'll second that.
Oh, I think Matt got you that time, Cheryl.
Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Right.
Okay, it passes unanimously. And then I would go ahead and move to uphold the violation. I don't think I have any edits for it.
yeah.
Sorry.
Do we have to amend it? Oh, no, we uphold the violation, then we amend the,
No, you could do it all in one. So yeah, if you want to have any discussion about whether, so if I heard the respondent right, he agrees that there's a wetland violation, but would like additional time to submit an application. Right now, the order has the deadline of June 20th, which is 6 weeks away from today. So, and he has not yet retained a professional help.
Okay, Cheryl, what do you think? Do you want to amend it? I'm gonna kind of retract what I just started to say and let her run with this.
well, I was just, as far as the time, if he doesn't have the professional yet, it sounded like, maybe a little bit more time might be necessary to put together an application that is, that's complete and doesn't, extend out too far. So that was what I was hearing from Alexis, I think.
Okay,
So-
Alexis, what do you think is a reasonable amount of time to extend that? Or anyone else for that matter?
Just pulling out a calendar. I mean, on the plus side, he does have a survey completed, which is the bulk of the work, has a survey with existing and pre-existing topography. So someone would need to take that map and show proposed topography. And then we'd also need a landscaping plan that shows kind of how everything's going to be put back together. And so then, let's see, if you're talking about removing, I'm just thinking about various timelines. I don't know, another. Another 4 weeks would get you to the 11th of August. So it'd be 10 weeks. Which I would think would be, I mean, I'm sorry, 4 weeks would get you to the 11th of July.
That's 2 months. I think that's plenty of time. I mean, all we're really looking for is a landscaping plan, 2 pages that shows, you know, what's going to happen and the details that go along with it. Okay, Cheryl, would you like, Ms. Commissioner Brown, would you like to make a motion or?
Sure, I'll try. So I guess I'll make a motion to amend the cease and restore order for V23-1049. And the amendment would include providing application deadline of, I'm sorry, what was it, July?
July 11th.
July 11th.
Okay, any other, let's see, so we need a second then, I guess.
I'll second.
Commissioner Knight, any discussion? All right, so all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. So we still have to achieve something, but you've got a little more time to achieve it, but let's not let it go to the last minute. If that's okay, Mr. Pineda, and good luck. And you have a good resource in Alexis if you have questions.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I will be on this. And then I'm gonna need this soon as possible. I got a kid and you know, trying to be able to enjoy the backyard. Backyard is down. It's not really useful. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Right.
Your
Good
help.
night.
Yeah. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, okay. Approval of minutes. Who read the April 25th meeting minutes? Commissioner Knight,
I read them. I make a motion to approve the minutes.
second? I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Groovy. Open space fund requests. Here's an interesting one.
Yes. Finally. This was a long meeting.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you for your patience.
You've been here the whole time?
Oh, you got it.
Whew.
Not the whole time. I've been going in and out. Let's see if I can get my camera to the. Yeah, it's not going to let me go to the one that I'm going to be speaking to, but yes, I'm here.
And you are.
Can I share my, and I am Richard Baskin. I'm the treasurer of the Norwalk Land Trust. And I have a request for an open space grant. And if you can share my screen.
You should be able to.
Okay. I have a presentation that I hope is not too long, and I'm willing to skip any part that you find unnecessary. So basically, I'm going to go through the request, describe the property, how it fits into something called the Mather Complex, our future plans for the property, a little bit of background about the Norwalk Land Trust and what we do. We're going to talk about the transaction. I'm going to make a case for approval, and then questions and comments, next steps. Does that sound good?
It does, and I will just say, you most likely are going to have healthy support, and you are welcome to go through this as quickly as you would like.
All
But
right.
make it
Well,
make it worth your time too.
here we go. So the Norwalk Land Trust is asking for a $200,000 grant from the Open Space Fund for the purchase of 3 open space parcels totaling 6.73 acres on Stephen Mather Road. We have signed a purchase and sale agreement to acquire these parcels of land. They're known as 12, 14, and 16 Stephen Mather Road. Again, they're about 6.73 acres. This property is currently under contract to a family that has agreed to sell these 3 parcels for $1,050,000 to close on June 6th. Basically, what the transaction, this is a one part of a multi-part transaction where the buyer who's going to sell to us is buying a much larger parcel of property, which these 6.3 acres are part of, in order to lower their financing needs. They approached the land trust and asked whether we would be willing to buy these properties, but since he was going to close in early June, he wanted us to close at the time he was closing rather than waiting. And this is why there's a little bit more urgency here. We're not going to. The property is 12, 14, and 16 Stephen Mather Road. This is an overview of the property. There are 1, 2, 3 lots. You have access to this property from Stephen Mather Road, and then from here, then this property has access from Stephen Mather Road, and then this is directly on Stephen Mather Road. The property is part of what I'm calling the Mather Open Space Complex. And so this is where the properties the land trust is going to acquire. And then here in Darien, we have another probably 20 some odd acres that the Darien land that's owned by the Darien Land Trust or the Stephen Mather Homestead Organization. And these are right here. They're all open meadows, versus here we actually see we have a woodland that with a water course and drainage that eventually ends up in the 5 Mile River, which is right here. This is going to form a significant green corridor in the sense that you'll have almost 27 acres if we when we acquire these lands. Looking at an overhead view, here are the Mather meadows and the house that the Darien Land Trust has. This is Brookside Lane here, and then this is where the parcels are. This is Stephen Mather Road. Okay. And then I zoom out some more to show that here's the 5 mile over here, shows that how developed this area is and what the significance of this these parcels are, is that it will, prevent a further development in this area. And the real goal is we'll have a pretty good sized wildlife refuge and will help protect the waterway. Our plans for the property, we had an ecological assessment of the property. The major problem is that there's a proliferation of invasive species on the site. The majority of the wooded portions of the site are overrun with invasive shrubs and garlic mustard, for example. We're going to have have a long and costly remediation plan. We're going to do some more analysis of the flora and fauna as we go through a season. Our eco evaluation was done in February of the year. We're going to need to periodically patrol and make sure there's a visible presence to deter things like dumping on the property. And then we're going to need to do some further inventory and survey work. We also plan to work closely with the Darien Land Trust. They're having a more modern and up-to-date management plan where they're trying to focus on migrating birds, monarch butterfly, and the whole idea of having diversity of native grasses and wildflowers, support more birds and other species. And the woodland area that we're looking to acquire will enhance that. We also may look to build some trail system within the property, but that's not going to happen until right now it's fairly impenetrable. We're going to have to do a fair amount of work to get rid of the invasives before we could do any kind of trail work in there. The Open Space Fund and the Norwalk Land Trust have a long history. You helped us with the getting an easement on the White Barn property. You also helped us with the Farm Creek Preserve. I think I bring this out just to highlight the partnership that the Land Trust and the city has, and that we are good stewards of and use whatever funds that we have been granted from the Open Space Fund in a responsible and impactful way, not only for the preservation of land, but also for passive enjoyment of for the residents of Norwalk, and for the wildlife, fauna, and waterways, etc. You know what the challenge is. 61% of Norwalk is developed, less than 20% is forested. If we look at the trends over time, we can see that the amount of developed land has been steadily going up, and the amount of forest land has been going down. Any questions yet? So the transaction overview, we have agreed to acquire these 6.7 acres. The property is currently under contract. They have a purchase and sale agreement with the current owners, and we have a purchase and sale and contract with the buyers. The price that the buyer is willing to sell to us at is $1,050,000, which is approximately $350,000 a lot. This is his cost. He was the buyer grew up in the immediate vicinity and wanted to do what they could to help preserve the open space. They had a couple of competing offers on the land from these 6 almost 7 acres from various developers. Again, if we could close at his closing and alleviate a great deal of his financing needs. His total transactions close to $3 million. That this would really make the difference for the land trust being able to acquire this property. We think the closing costs are about $32,000. You can see the breakdown here. The majority of that is, I believe the land trust is going to be responsible for a certain amount of the property taxes until the next cycle on billing. Here's a quick look at our finances. The land trust, as I said, is an all volunteer organization. We have been traditionally very constrained in terms of cash and resources. We had generally our total revenue is relatively small. You see in 2021, we had a pretty big year of almost 812,000. 750,000 of that was land that someone donated to us, and so we've gone from having raising approximately $30,000 in December of 2020, perhaps up in the area of $50,000 here, $100,000 last year. This year, we have a sizable. We got a sizable bequest of approximately $1,600,000, and this was totally out of the blue. And I won't go into the story right now, but basically what this bequest has let us do is to be able to respond to the situation that we're in now, where there's an opportunity to acquire land. There are time constraints, and that we were able to move and get the transaction done, and without having to worry about applying for federal or state grants or going into a long fundraising cycle, which if we had to, this land would not have been able to be saved. Why are we asking for these funds when we had adequate funds to close on $1 million property? Reason is we think it's important to have the resources and financial flexibility to respond to situations like we're seeing right here. For example, I don't know if people are familiar with the White Barn situation, and there were quite a multi-year attempt to try to preserve the White Barn property as open space, but we just couldn't generate the funds, the resources to do that. And so one is we want to keep, we want to maintain the some of the flexibility and the buying power that this bequeath gave us. The other reason is that we want to have resources to do the proper stewardship. You know, for example, as I pointed out, the invasive situation on these properties is pretty severe, and it's going to require quite a bit of money to remediate those. If you look at our history here on this line for stewardship, we have not had the funds to spend on stewardship and adequately either one, assess what our properties need or do an eco assessment, and then also to have the funds to and the resources to go and implement those remediation plans. You know, as a volunteer organization, we don't have the people power to go and do these things. You know, there's a pro forma. The last column is a pro forma budget for 2024. You can see that we're looking at a deficit of nearly $250,000. And I think that is again, we're looking to try to make this bequests that we got last over time. So why approve this proposal? One, we feel that the request meets the open space criteria. It's the acquisition of real property. We have payment of acquisition related costs. And then, you know, this is the cost of land acquisition by a nonprofit organization, which the Norwalk Land Trust is, and it's consistent with the purpose set out in the open space fund. We think that this is a real opportunity to preserve these three properties that are part of a rare open lands corridor. They're in the 5 Mile River drainage basin, and they represent some of the last undeveloped parcels in this area. It expands the Mather open space complex, which will provide an important multiplier effect that we're really going to see, I think, an enhancement of the habitat for wildlife, mammals, birds, insects, and as well as some groundwater and wetlands preservation. It also, importantly, helps maintain the financial viability of the land trust. It shepherds our resources so that we can have the leverage to respond rapidly to opportunities as they arrive. You know, this made it possible for us to even be in the ball game for this land, and then it conserves our the land trust resources for stewardship of this and other properties. Again, you know, the land trust has been an important partner to the city of Norwalk in this open space. You know, we're often the first people, the first group that people reach out to when they're looking to conserve land. This transaction is a great example of that. We had someone reach out to Sealy Hubbard, who was our president at the time, and has got this working. We also are always scouting out for parcels to to acquire. And then we think we really help and benefit the city by acquiring these properties that will not only the city residents can take advantage of, but it preserves habitat both for birds, mammals, flora, and stormwater. And then the city's open space fund has really been a critical partner to the land trust to be financially healthy and thriving to continue its work. Is that questions, comments, next steps? I know I went fast. I can get you a copy of this if you want. You can put yourself, if you got any questions off of mute.
Do commissioners have questions?
Yeah, I had a quick question. So was the appraisal done yet on the 3 parcels of land?
Yes, they were appraised for $360,000 each.
Okay, good.
And the offers that the buyer got from developers was somewhat higher.
Okay. And then I guess Alexis, what's the balance in the open space fund for us right now?
Right, so the current balance is $461,686.41 approximately.
Okay. Hi, Steve's son.
He's trying to say hi to Alexis.
Oh, sorry.
I'd say your name, but it's a recorded meeting, so I won't.
But he says hi to you too, Matt.
Thanks.
So yeah, the current balance is nearly 462,000. I will report that the city does not have any properties on the horizon that it sees itself acquiring for open space.
Okay, so we've got the money. We don't have anybody lined up who wants the money right now. It aligns, the request aligns with the language in the open space fund. Actually, please. Who else? Somebody has some better money questions than me. That's not my forte. Anybody?
And just to be clear, so the title eventually ends up with the land trust, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then our, is as the buyer, we are required to maintain the land as open space.
I think it's great.
Thank you.
Other commissioners or any comments or motions?
I think I have to abstain from the decision because of my involvement in the transaction as part of the land trust.
So noted.
You have any concerns about this?
Anybody else? Ed or Cheryl?
I don't really have anything. This seems great. It seems like a great opportunity. There's other open space in the vicinity. It's wooded, it's untouched. You don't see that very often in Norwalk, especially contiguous.
Okay. And Ed, you're not trying to say anything, are you? Are you trying to unmute? No. He's good. Okay, good enough. All right, well then, unless Alexis, you have anything you'd like to add?
No.
Then I'll just move to approve the Norwalk Land Trust request to use $200,000 from our open space fund for the purchase of the aforementioned parcels. And I don't know, what else do we need to say? Go ahead, please.
Could your motion include authorization of the senior environmental officer to convey that message to the Common Council. I think it needs to go before the Land Use Committee of the council prior to the full council. So I would just add authorization of Alexis to draft a memorandum reporting your findings.
Love it. Definitely consider my motion amended as such. I don't have 2 brain cells left to articulate that. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have 1 abstention. And I didn't see Ed, but I think he was an aye, right? Yep, okay.
He raised his hand. So you have 4 in favor.
Okay.
I'll note that Amy Richardson had to leave the meeting at 8:35, so she did not vote on this. And Ms. Knight is abstaining.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
You bet. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And if there's any additional material or information that you need from me, Alexis, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
night. All right, Josh, what's next? Conservation initiatives. Can we go ahead and skip past that one, guys? Comments of staff?
No, just been very busy. Tomorrow is the deadline for a major grant application that I'm writing to do really big picture changes to Vets Park. So let's get going. So we've applied for 2 grants through the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. One is to do marsh remediation at the upper part of the Village Creek Marsh. Off of, if you go on Wilson Avenue, like by the transit district, and you go over the industrial uses that are there, there's the Village Creek Marsh, and part of it has been separated by the rest of the marsh by a gravel road and berm. So we've sent in an application to remove that berm and restore the marsh and do a bunch of green infrastructure, stormwater improvements to the Meadow Street, Wilson Ave, Meadow Street Extension area. And then the one that I'm working on right now would be a complete redo potentially of Veterans Park to make it not only user-friendly, but also more resilient to flooding and provide a living shoreline and additional coastal habitat. So been hyper-focused on doing all of that lately, in addition to the usual wetland review. And there are more applications coming in the pike for both development and for corrective action. So.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Thank you for working on those initiatives and good luck getting it done tomorrow.
Thank you.
Awesome. Anybody else? Or anything, anybody have questions for Alexis? Okay. Thanks very much. Comments of commissioners, anyone? And seeing none, I'll move to adjourn. May I have a second?
Second.
No, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right.
Good night,
Good night,
everyone.
everybody. You say bye.